This is SPY on the 5-minute time frame. I'm going to show you price targets for Wednesday. We ended the day at $454.93. The day's low, $453.50. The day's high, $456.27. This is where we ended at the middle of the trend or the baseline. To the north side at 2 standard deviations and a possible take profit area, $456.25. Above that, at another level of resistance and another possible take profit area, $456.87, and at 4 standard deviations, $457.53. To the south side, at -2 standard deviations and a possible buy-in area or an area to go short, $453.69. This gap closes to the downside at $453.41. $453.04 and another potential support area and a possible buy-in area as well, $452.41. The RSI is at 59. The MACD has crossed over to the upside. Now I'm going to go over AER. Thank you to Marat for pointing this out. He suggested I take a look at that stock, CELH, J, and TTD. So I will do that very quickly. And later on, I will go over these stocks on the daily, the weekly, and the time frames to give you a bigger picture and a sense of where we are. Now, we ended the day at 66.62. And Marat told me about this on Monday, and I did not get a chance to do a video until today. And we are down just 0.5%. The day's range, 66.34 to the low side, to the high side, 67.52. The 1-year price target is $81.23, which represents a 21% return from where we are. Of course, we could possibly get it at a better price, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But first, to the middle of the trend, that takes us to 66.80, 67.49, 67.84, 68.20, and to the south side, at support, 66.10, another level of support and a possible buy-in area, 65.75 and 65.41. Note this gap closed to the south side at 66.67. Looking left, we hit resistance here. What happens at resistance? People take their profits and they run. Price started to fall. This turns into support, fell below that. And we touched this gap down here, bounced up, didn't quite make it up to this level, but started to fall down, and now we are consolidating sideways. And if you trade patterns, maybe this could be a W right here. We'll have to wait and see, but potentially, again, that could go to 2 standard deviations around 67.50. The next one is CELH. There we go. We ended the day at 52.25, down more than 2.5%. The day's low, 52.10. The day's high, 53.85. The 1-year price target is $70.82, which represents a 35% increase from where we are. Of course, there will be lots of up and downs to get to that, so that may make a good swing trade for you. To the north side, takes us back to the middle of the trend, and from where we are, this is resistance. And if we make it to this area, you could see a potential sell-off as people take their profits. We could grind down this way or sideways before we go to the next leg up. The middle of the trend is roughly 53.04, 54.18, 54.76 roughly, and At 4 standard deviations, 55.35. I never expect price to get to 4 standard deviations within one day. It is possible, but if it gets to that level and I'm just scalping or day trading, I am getting out, because if it goes to that level, I know and will anticipate it to fall to consolidate. Now to the south side, 51.86, 51.31, and 50.73 potential buy-in areas. And if we make it to those areas, I do anticipate a bounce off of support. Looking left, note the sell-off here at resistance, the buy-in at support. There's a gap right here. Let me mark this out. If you do not know how to mark out a gap fill, it gapped up. I'll turn on my magnet so it could get the price more accurately for me within the box. I'm going to extend this out. And because we gapped up, I anticipate price to fill to the downside, and we did fill. And because that's to the south side, I like to put it in red. So this gap is no longer in play, but now I'm going to turn off my magnet. That filled at 52.41. Because it filled to the south side, I like to change it to red. So when I look at this very quickly, I know that it was to the downside. And if you were here and you were riding it up, back to support, back up to resistance, for me, getting to 2 standard deviations is very easy for many charts. Anytime I go outside of that, then my radar goes off and I intuitively know that it could fall from that point. It could reach it, the next standard deviation at 3, and I will anticipate a sell-off, and that's what exactly happened. It didn't even make it to 3 and started to fall down. So I like to play conservatively within -2 to the baseline, and then to 2 standard deviations, back to the baseline, back to -2, all within here. And obviously you can take it out to 2, 3, and 4, but I wouldn't hold my breath for it to get there. All right, let's move this along. And you do not need to even mark out 3 standard deviations. You could just hide that and don't pay for any more indicators other than the freebies that TradingView gives you, I should say. And anytime we go out, I know to sell. Anytime we go to the south side, I know to buy. That's one way to play it. The next stock is J. Notice I had 2, 3, and 4 standard deviations marked out. Sometimes TradingView gets wonky. And when I go between different times and charts where I mark out price, it gets wonky and then it disappears. Anyway, Jacobs Solutions, a technology services, data processing services company, on the low, we ended the day at 124.06, up more than 1%. The day's low, 121.97. The day's high, 125.13. The 1-year price target is 152.71, a 23% return from where we are. Very nice. To 2 standard deviations takes us to roughly 125.14, back to the middle of the trend and support from where we are, 123.33. I will anticipate a bounce if we hit that. And another support area, possibly 121.52. The next one is TTD. I haven't looked at this one in a very long time. The trade desk. Back to the baseline, 69.84, potential take profit area, depending upon where you bought in. And another take profit area, 71.19. Anything outside of that is an outlier and a possible sell signal. To the south side at -2 standard deviation, 68.38. And the day's low, 68.47. The day's high, again, 70.02. The 1-year price target, 74.13. Still 7% return on your money. Beats the banks all day long. Now, the next one I want to go over is Tesla. All right, we are at 246.72. I will turn back on the linear regression. 3 standard deviations takes us to roughly 251.16. Now to the south side, back at the middle of the trend and support, 241-ish, 241.04. Ignore the white horizontal lines. Those were old price targets. It started out here, got revised downward, and then we already met it at 239. All right. The middle of the trend, again, if I didn't say it, since I got sidetracked, are roughly 240.95. To the south side, 234.23, another possible buy-in area and support. And you know what happens at support. And at -3 standard deviations, 230.92. And the final ETF I want to go over is MSOS. I sold out today some of the shares. This is a trade I did for my mom. I have a lot of shares in this stock, but I did a quick swing trade for her. I bought in on the 20th at 658, and I sold today for her at 695. And that was a 5.5% return. We ended the day at $6.90, up more than 0.5%. The day's low, $6.68. The day's high, $7. I had put in a sell order last night, so I didn't check it. I forgot all about it. And we made it almost to 3 standard deviations and fell down because, again, that is resistance. I expect a sell-off at resistance. People are taking their profits and they are running, okay? So what happened? We fell back down and then came back up to end the day there. And to the south side, well, let me first say to the north side, 702 for tomorrow. And if we get up to here, again, I will anticipate another sell-off. The middle of the trend, 683, 671, and at -3 standard deviations and another possible buy-in area, 665. If we make it down to this level or -4 standard deviations and possibly below, I will probably buy in again and just do a quick swing trade and keep my other shares. All right, that does it for me. Thank you to Marat for pointing out those stocks for me, AER, CELH, JTTD. And if there is a stock that you would like me to go over, please let me know. Thanks for watching.